Alright, this is actually the second time recording this because the first time my microphone was not on, so I'm very frustrated about that. Alright, this assignment is meant to be a review of what we've already covered up to this point with the e-bike. So we're going to be doing, this is the little hammer that I created today, and it's not that great, but don't make fun of it. So I'm going to go step by step through this with these little smaller examples here. You will only have one hammer as a result. You don't have to do all these different copies. This is just for example. So step number 1 is going to be extrude this polyline to be a surface. So if you do not specify surface extrusion, it will want to extrude as a solid, but we're going to be modeling in surfaces today, so you want to use the surface tab extrude. So once you've done that, next you're going to create a patch, this thing right here, and to make your life a little bit easier, don't forget to choose chain from the menu down here once you find the patch tool. Alright, after that you're going to need to align your UCS, which is a challenge, so just concentrate, it'll be okay. First thing you want to do is find the UCS tool. I'm not even going to give you that hint, you should know where it is. Then you're going to align your UCS to one of these lines, these otherwise known as hint objects. So you'll want to align your UCS to one of these objects. Then you'll have to rotate either on the X or the Y axis. I'm not going to tell you which one. You have to figure that out. And then you want to draw a circle, and if your UCS is aligned correctly, your circle should look like this when you orbit. So it's ready to be modeled for the handle. Alright. If your circle looks any different than that, you did not do it correctly. Try again. Next step is going to be to create a line here in order to trim the circle. So you'll want to use that line to trim the bottom half off. Trim somewhere over here, maybe over here specifically. Once you have a half circle, the next step is going to be to extrude that half circle. We're going to extrude it through the head of the hammer, so all the way through. Once you have that, you're going to be trimming. It's a different kind of trim, not the trim you find on the Home tab, that's for lines. So you're going to be trimming a surface. So you want to use surface trim. You're going to trim off the outer part and also the inner part, the part that's extruded inside the head of the hammer. So this is the trimmed portion. Once you have it trimmed, we're going to focus on the handle. So you got this here, you got it trimmed. Now you're going to offset your surface. So you want to offset inward, and there's a nice guideline here for the offset distance. So you're going to use that as a reference point. Once you have your surfaces offset, you're going to be using on the surface tab, extract isolines command, and you want to extract the iso line right at the edge, the outer edge of these surfaces. So you'll have 2 arcs when you're done. You should be able to hover over the edge and see that you have an arc there and an arc there. The next step is to connect those 2 arcs with 2 little lines here. See that in the next step. Once you have those 2 lines, you're going to combine both the arcs and those 2 little lines together to form one polyline, or in this case called a spline, because we're using arcs. Sometimes that's called a spline instead of a polyline. Once you have that, it's a closed shape, so we can create a region. So this here is a region. After you have your region, you want to convert the region to a surface. Convert to surface. CONV to surface. If you're dead set on using buttons, go to the Home tab, Solid Editing. It's one of these two. I'll let you figure out which one. Once you have all of your surfaces created, we're going to mirror them. So one half becomes a hole here. So we're going to mirror, and when you have your UCS aligned correctly, it's going to be best if you view it directly from the top or bottom of the hammer, and you're going to be using the mirror line that goes right across here. So you're going to be mirroring all of the surfaces. You should end up with something like this. Now the final step is a little bit of extra credit if it can work for you. I was not able to get mine to surf sculpt into a solid, which is the drawback in trying to create a solid using surfaces. Sometimes if there's just a little tiny gap in your surfaces, or your UCS was just off by a hair, just a percentage, then it just won't work. So I'm not sure why it didn't work, but if you can get yours to surf sculpt into a solid, I'll give you a bonus point. How about that? So once you have the hammer as modeled here, you are done with this review. Refer to the previous videos if I didn't go into enough detail. All the steps were done in the previous e-bike lessons with very specific instructions. So you could go back and review those videos if you're not sure how to do a specific step. All right, remember to do it on your own. If someone asks for help, you can help verbally. Do not take control. Let them do it themselves so they learn how to do it. All right, good luck and Godspeed.